Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all is well. I hope everyone is feeling well today and ready to get our stretch on. I hope you are dressed in some comfy gear like I am. Feel free to grab a water because it's important to stay hydrated. But I also made a note. If we begin this session and you start to feel any aches and pains in any of the movement, that is a key not to do this movement, right? So we want to thank you all for joining today's healthy stretching session. As you know, we've been creating this wellness series throughout the month of October to bring you key healthy stretching tips to do from your home. We started the first session, tips to do once we get up first thing in the morning in the bed. How do we stretch in the bed? Last week, we did how do we stretch once we get out of bed. Today, we are going to be doing stretching from our chairs. And it's so important that we just go through the importance of stretching because there has been studies to show that it helps with hypertension and high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, renal disease, kidney disease, and one of the main things that I love, cardiovascular health. So that's important, heart healthy stretching, right, guys? And it's so important that we think about our movement and range of motion, gearing up that flexibility. And while we're doing this, it's very important for us to breathe through. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, right? We want to improve circulation in all areas, and breathing helps with our range of motion as we start to stretch. It starts to give us better posture. We start to notice we go from here to here, right? As we stretch over time, as we take a time to ease into these things, we're going to reduce that stiffness, that joint pain that we get, those muscle tightness that we get in the morning or throughout the day. And guys, know that stretching just doesn't happen in the beginning of the day. You can do this throughout the day as you feel your body start to tense and stress up, because stretching also helps with stress relief. But as you feel that tension and stiffness come throughout your day, take these tips and tools that you have learned to go back and just start to stretch. 5 to 10 minutes out of your time to move and flex those muscles. It'll help you reduce injury over time. It helps to, keep the body agile. And it decreases some lower back pain that we may start to get over the years. That's why you see a lot of us hunch. Once we start to stretch, we'll notice that it's very important. And I talked about stretching throughout the day. A lot of us think we only should stretch before we exercise, right? Or even as we come out of bed. Nope, we should stretch post exercising, right after we finish. It's great to loosen up the bodies prior to exercising, but it's also great to unwind and loosen back up the body after working out, because after working out, your body might have that tenseness, that pain. And today we want to just show you ways that we can help to stretch from home, reduce the muscle joint pain and overall stress relief, right? It's important to have this time. And I'm not going to take up any more of your time. We have an amazing facilitator. I cannot praise her anymore. Dionne Monsanto is here with us to just give us our tips in moving the body. We're going to have time for Q&A after. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Dionne, because she's going to give you anything that I did not. Thank you, Dionne, for having us today. It's all yours.
Always a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I literally was listening to you in the introduction. I was like, I'm just going to pack up and turn my laptop off because you got it all. You said it all. She's right. The only thing I will say to all of you, in addition to what Sandrine said, is to really listen to your body to understand what pain is. Some of us don't like being uncomfortable. So it's like a mosquito bites you and it's annoying, but it's not painful. So feeling a sensation, feeling something, it's like growing is uncomfortable. Growing pains, a tooth coming in, that there's some things that can be nagging and annoying. So I use the example of something stabbing you. If you reach for something, if it's sharp, if it's pointed, if it's just takes your vision away. You know, when people talk about that white light, something happens and you're like, woo, if it shocks you, you've gone too far, pull back. But the really nice thing about using a chair, I'm sitting in a chair just on a mat. The one thing I will add to is like, please, if you have chairs with wheels on them, make sure you're planting your feet solid. I would like you to be in a chair that's not going to move. And because I'm on wooden floors, I actually put my chair on a mat, and then I have a little rug in front of me if I step forward. So make sure your chair is not going to slip, because we don't want that to be an injury. So having said that, so some of us, even when we're at home during this period, we're often sitting. So whether it's on the bed, on the chair, whatever the space is that you're on your laptop or even holding a phone up or something, you want to have that. So some of what we did before will repeat. It's really good for your body to create muscle memory in using and doing some of these same moves over and over again. So if you get to work, or if you're sitting at a desk, whatever your workspace is, when you have your seat, and I'm going to do a side view. Let's see, we'll do it this way. We'll do a side view. So it's a similar thing that we did before with cat and cow. So if you can lean your chest forward and then lean it back. So this is always something that's available to you, whether you're in an office or you're at home. And similar to what I've said in the previous weeks, I forced myself not to do my normal practices so I could feel this working on my body as I'm working with you. So on the floor or on the bed, these were your cat and cows, and you can do this in the chair. And sometimes somebody's really flexible, so if you want to go further, you can hold on to your chair to push further out and lean further back. Like if I put my feet forward and reach, that gives me a little deeper range of motion as I'm pulling forward. And as I tuck my chin in, feeling it in the upper spine. And then when I press my chest forward and drop my head back, getting that deep arch in the spine. So doing some of those, and we'll do some standing as well, because when we were balancing, you may have read or heard that quite often there's some places that are using standing desks now. So if you're standing at your chair, you can hold on to the chair and brace it just so you can lean. So maybe it's harder for you to do this sort of thing without standing, and you can reach over and just stretch to one side. But I have my hand on the chair to hold on to give me some form and balance. And I can stay a little longer than we did previously because I'm holding on to the chair. And then come back to center and switch arms, reaching up and over. And the more you can breathe into it and stay in the pose, you'll start to feel it release. And generally, you're going to feel this all along the right side of your body. You might feel it more in the arm, and if you let your head go, some in the neck. And the more you push your hips to one side, you might even feel it in the hip, not just the side of your chest and the underarm, and come back to center. Now, just that little bit, your spine is starting to wake up. We like to say, yoga teachers, a healthy spine, healthy life. So you want to keep that. And then working back in your chair, you can stand next to it and you can step out. There's some when we sit down. If you have a chair that you can sit to the side, you can stretch one leg back. So I'm holding on deeply to the chair. I have my hand around to safely keep me in position. So I'm holding on tight. One leg is on one side and I'm reaching the other leg back. So here, thinking of a lunge, you'll feel the stretch along the front of your foot and perhaps the front of your thigh. And you can breathe into that. Deep breath in, slow breath out. And we'll do 2 more breaths like that. Sitting in stillness. So quite often in these days where our meetings are on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, all these different virtual spaces that have come up, this is something, we're going to switch sides. Come back to center. Now my legs feel totally different. So we'll switch to the other side. And now stretching the leg back, top to the foot flat. Now feeling the stretch in the front of the other thigh, but really hold on to your chair to give you stability. And this is really helpful, I find. I've been having some challenges with my knees, so now there's no pressure on the knee. And stay here. Gonna do the same few breaths here, feeling the stretch. If you don't feel it, my knee is this, if you notice, this side is tighter. My foot is not as far back. So I can try to inch it back. And you're always finding your limit in breathing. Taking the slow, steady, deep breaths to repeat Sandrine is sending blood and blood flow and energy to that part of your body. And then we'll come back to center. There should be a little bit more evenness to the body. And just in those couple of moves, you've done your back, your ankles, your knees, you've done a whole body stretch. And then you'll go again, because when we stretch again, when we do these things in repetition, even if some of you are doing strength training, you know you do the same movements in repetition and you go deeper and you get stronger. So doing that same cat and cow, I'm facing you so it doesn't look the same. Pressing your chest forward. I have my hands on my knees and then pushing back. And then from the chair without getting up, to be safe, you're always holding on. So I'm gonna take one hand and hold on to the chair. So right where I'm sitting, I'm holding on with one hand and then reaching up and over. So we did this standing, we did this seated. And then before you come out, reach back. So I'm reaching behind me and then coming up. You're doing your fancy matrix move. I'm dating myself with Neo. And reach up and over on the other side. Small, subtle movements make such a big difference. We don't have to do anything fancy. I'm consistently showing you things that you'll be able to do with things you have. And now reach back. Still holding on to the chair for support. And then coming back and bringing your hand down. So you got a side stretch and a back bend with the support of your chair. Now, another thing with the back bends, as Sandrine mentioned, as we age, we tend to curl in and forward as our spine, it's less that it's shrinking, it's that our muscles aren't strong enough to hold us up. So keeping that strength, you want that elasticity, so when you go forward, you can go back. But to support your lower back, I'm turning my chair to the side. So sometimes you've heard, like if somebody feels nauseous, they want you to put your head in between your knees to let it flow. So letting your head hang down and just draping it over, it doesn't feel like much, but you're reversing the blood flow. So as I'm letting my head hang, the head is just a little below the heart. And if your legs are in the way, you can open your legs a little wider and maybe your hands will touch the floor. And again, you let your head go. And take some breaths here. And feel the air expand into your back. And try, we're gonna breathe in on a count of 3. And exhale on a count of 3. Inhale. Exhale. Now, I'm holding my head up a little so you can hear me, and I'm gonna let it hang deeper. And just with those few breaths, I have sank deeper into my chair, into the floor, my elbows are bent. And then shake your head out. Circle your head right, circle your head left. Still breathing. And then plant your feet and slowly straighten your arms. And as you inhale, You're coming all the way back up, nice and slow. Aside from injury, one of the things about sudden movements, sometimes we'll have a sudden movement and we'll get dizzy. Quite often it's become a tradition in our lives that we'll go to work and we'll start our day and we may or may not have anything to eat. We might only have a cup of coffee or some sort of tea, some sort of wake up thing. This can be a little part of your wake up, but without sustenance, without food in your belly, sudden movements can make you dizzy. Doesn't mean something's wrong with the movement. It just means perhaps you didn't eat enough or drink enough. There are lots of reasons you can be dizzy. So hopefully you felt the difference in your spine from there. Same thing we did before, but facing out. So now the chair is to the side, I'm facing you, and I'm gonna stretch my leg out. So this way we can do another side stretch, and it's a different sort of lunge. Lots of things are similar to what we did on the side of the bed. I'm gonna reach my hand down to my shin, holding onto the chair and seeing how this feels. For some of you, if it bothers your leg with the knee straight, then you can bend your knee out to the side. But your legs are open, the knee can be bent or the knee can be straight. Your choice depending on what feels better for your knee. But holding onto the chair, reach your hand down towards your ankle, plant your foot solid, and then reach up. This is deeper. Totally fine. This is going to feel different. Remember, you can always bend your knee. You don't have to go as far. Here's what it looks like. My elbow is bent on my thigh and reaching over, but still feeling the stretch and breathing into my side body. So you can try it both ways. I did it with the straight leg, pretty intense, very deep, bending the knee, still a good stretch, not as intense. And then come back up. And take a deep breath in. Always making sure you're breathing in between. I'm coming back to center just so I can switch my chair to the other side. I want to make sure I'm always facing you. So now switching legs, holding onto the chair. Your chair is your base, your stability. I'm stretching one leg out to the side, one leg in front, one leg to the side, straight or bent. I'm starting off straight, reaching my hand towards my ankle, reaching the arm up and over. And in theory, you're trying to keep the shoulders stacked. So when we come out, I'm gonna have you come out. We're staying here for a couple more breaths. If you've tried leg bent, you can try leg straight. If you try leg straight, now I'm switching to bent with my elbow on, reaching up and over. If we were on the mat, this would be similar to side angle or extended side angle, some terms you may have heard if you've ever tried a yoga practice online. Now, I want you to come out and you'll watch. Since I can't see all of you clearly, all of you come back up to center. I'm staying in the pose so I can show you some common errors. So I'm reaching up and my shoulders are pretty much in line, but sometimes people will reach up and over and you'll curl in on yourself. So you don't feel as much of a stretch here. So you're trying to keep the shoulders. So thinking of alignment, I have my knee, my elbow, and both shoulders stacked on top of each other. And if my leg is bent, it might be all of them stacked even down to my ankle. So just giving you some cues, because what's ideal for all of you to become your own best teacher. One of the other challenges that happens with yoga, if you're not prepared or any form of exercise and stretching, you do something really fast because you're like, I gotta catch my train, you get up and run. You hear people have an injury, they're like, all I did was bend over and something went pop. So with bending over, it's the engagement also of the abdominal muscles. So while you're sitting in the chair, this time I'm gonna have you take a breath and lean back. I'm only moving my arms so you can see me. So you can have your arms by your side and plant your feet solid. I'm shorter than most of you, I'm sure. So I have to sit a little forward just to get my feet solid on the floor. But have your feet solid in the shape of an L. And if you can hold on to the legs of the chair, you're doing another back bend. So we started off without using opposition, but when you're holding on to the chair and you press your chest forward, This feels a little deeper and more intense because you're pulling the chair and pressing the chest. And then the same thing in the opposite direction. Still holding onto the chair and pressing yourself back. You might have to bend the elbows and sort of reach your head for the knees. It might go, it might not. If I straighten, if I come down a little more, but giving you a range. All of these are right. If your head comes down, if this is your stretch, or if you can come all the way down, all of them are correct. But still holding on to the chair. And you might feel this in your arms as you're really holding on tightly to the chair, and some stretching all the way from the top of your spine to the bottom. And slowly release and come back up. Inhaling your way up. This bears for repeating since we're doing stretching hacks for life. When you're going to reach for something, it's really nice to take a breath because your breath supports you from the inside. We all know how strong wind is when we think of hurricanes and tornadoes. So the more you can use your breath, if you take a deep breath in and bend your knees, you can generally reach for something. So in getting, without weights, just using your body, if we lean forward in our chair, reach one hand down and pull up and stretch. So it's half. So now reaching down to the floor, elbow up and straighten the arm up. Lots of times from typing, reach down, middle, straight arm up. So I'm doing this and talking to you to give the idea in terms of the shoulder. There's so many things that we do with our arms and carrying our bags and carrying our laptops, carrying our phones, tablets, Kindles, that our shoulders get a lot of work and they tend to wear out. 2 more times, halfway, straight arm, bent elbow to the floor. Midway, straight arm, bent elbow to the floor. And then slowly you roll up. Not weight bearing, using your own resistance in your arms. You should feel that around the outside of the upper arm and a little bit in the shoulders, some rotation there. Still on this side, just to maintain that shoulder rotation, keeping your hand on your thigh, work your shoulders forward and around. And then try to make it a bigger circle, like the elbow was going out and around. And then slowly reach your arm forward, up, and back. And I'm in particular starting on this side. I did have a torn ligament in this shoulder, so the range of motion is very different. And I know I'm hearing little cricks when I get to a certain point, like my body's talking to me. And then just you holding your belly tight and breathing as you slowly reach that arm around. And then pause, let your hand rest on your knee. And we're gonna switch sides, or rather switch directions. Take that same arm, reach back, up, and forward. So there's a range of motion. When you think of, what can we say? A drumstick or a chicken leg, right? You see those joints and you know how they go. And they can go rotate in all directions. And there's a certain flexibility that for the most part, we were all born with. And over time, and being sedentary and not stretching, we lose it. But with a little consistency, only one more circle, with a little consistency, let your hand rest on your knee and thigh. Whew, you can get it back. It really isn't too late. I've definitely seen some of my older, switching my chair directions, some of my older clients and students regaining ranges of motion that they didn't think would be possible, especially for runners, bodybuilders. So same thing, we're gonna pull our belly in, take a deep breath in, fold forward, let your hand reach for the floor, elbow comes up, arm straightens.
bend the elbow, reach your hand for the floor. Now your right side and your left side might feel really different. Now that you have the motion, because we did it with the other arm, we're just gonna do this a few times. Straight, bent, floor. Bend, straight up to the air, bent, floor. And you can let your head rest. I just have my head turned so I can see who's on screen and what's going on, but you can let your head rest and keep doing that. And you should be warming up. You might even be sweating. Before we started, I went and got a towel since today's a much warmer day in New York. Just one more time. Bent, straight up to the ceiling, bent, down to the floor. Stay here, let your head hang, and slowly roll up. Your transitions are so important. So now on this shoulder, just little shoulder rolls. You might not even be able to see it too clearly as I'm rolling my shoulder back and forward, making a little circle just with the shoulder. And now trying to add the elbow to make it a bigger circle. And then we'll do our bigger directions, reaching our arm forward, back, and down, making this circle to really work that rotator cuff. Just normal wear and tear. I know very many people that I went to junior high school with that by the time they hit 50, needed cortisone shots and various things in their shoulders, and said they never wanted to stretch. So there's so many reasons just to do a little bit. And I'm giving you a lot in these sessions, and you can always go back to YouTube to watch them. Last one. And then stop, let your arm rest, taking a break. And we're switching directions. Reaching your arm back, up, and forward. You know what part of your body needs a little bit more attention, and I'm looking forward to your questions as we come towards the end, so we can give you tips. And keep doing that. And the fact that we're moving slowly allows the muscles, tendons, and ligaments time to adjust to what you're doing. 2 more. Breathe in and out through your nose. And this is your last one. Let your hand rest. So your shoulders should feel really good. I will face you again. The other thing I hear from people is typing, right? If you're sitting at a desk and your arms are always bent in this position, we did something with the bending and straightening that wasn't weight bearing, but here, and you're always staring in a particular direction. So just a little something for your neck. So if you reach your right arm up and reach over to your ear, and you're holding on to your left ear, and gently go over to the side. You're not doing anything really intense. There's no pulling. So it's just the weight of your head and your hand on your ear, and still breathing in. There's a lot of abdominal work with breath, as long as you keep feeling the pressure as you pull the belly in and you breathe. And nice and slow, release and bring your head back to center. So this side of your neck should feel very different. Left hand, right ear, slowly over. So based on how I type and I write, this side feels so much tighter for me. I cannot go as deep, and I feel it in different places than I did on the other side. And I'm only verbally saying all of these things to you so you're aware, because quite often someone will feel like, oh my goodness, that didn't feel, I could feel it, it was different, there's something wrong. Nope. Whether you're right-handed or left-handed, there's generally one side of the body that is stronger and the other side that is more flexible. And it's generally based on how you write. Okay, release your ear, bring your hand down slowly, and slowly bring your head back up. And then we'll just do some neck rolls, just right and left, just a few without any weight bearing. And then we're gonna make circles. So pause in the middle, bring your chin down, and then circle to the right, back, left, chin down to center. And we'll do that again, just a few more times. One full circle, nice and slow. And I definitely, third one, hear little cricks and crinkles. I like to say it's your body talking to you. Going again, this is the fourth one. And this is the last one going towards the right. When you come back to center with your chin down, pause. Lift your head up, take a breath. And then we're gonna go in the opposite direction, to the left. Chin down, head to the left shoulder, to the back, to the right, chin down. Going again, gonna do the same 5 rotations on this side. Third one. Keep breathing. I only say it to you as I remind myself, fourth one. So often when we start moving in a way that's unfamiliar and slowness does require more muscle strength. Last one. We stop breathing. When you get to center, let your chin hang down. Let your head hang, chin to chest, and nice and slow, inhale your way up. Bring your shoulders up and drop them down. Up as far as you can, drop them down. One more time, and down. So you should feel a bit different in your body now. Another thing that might be helpful, and this depends on your knees, I will give you a side view for this one as well, is pulling one leg in, right? If you can. Now, if you're at home, this is much more possible than if you're at your desk. If you're at desk with your shoes on, it might be more difficult based on the clothing you're wearing. But if you can, and if you're doing it at home, to just lift up. So I can't pull it all the way up and get my foot on the chair without pulling my leg. So I have to use my hand and pull up and pull in enough to get my heel just on the edge of my chair, and I'm holding on tight to my leg. Other foot planted solid on the floor. You should be able to see there's a solid L shape of my thigh and my calf to the floor. And once I pull the leg in, bring my chin down, let it hang. Another good forward fold, and really working in the hip socket. So let your head hang while you're pulling that one leg in. Now, if you're super flexible, you might be able to grab all the way around, maybe grab your arms or your forearms and tuck your chin in. But as long as, even if you just have your hands towards your ankle and tucking your chin in, forehead close to the knee. And then slowly come back up. You can lean back for a minute and take a break. And just to safely bring your foot down, you can pick it up and put it down. I'm gonna hold on to the chair so I can wiggle and slide the leg out. And then that same leg, just a little kicking forward and back. Years ago, when I had knee challenges, said to strengthen the muscles in the quad. So from here, since we did one side, bring your foot up. So my foot, let me move my other foot so you'll see. It's just a little bit off the floor. Here it's planted, here it's about 3 inches off the floor. And then kicking forward and bringing back. Really working the quads, more strengthening than stretching, but since knee issues are common, and this is a common PT exercise to strengthen the quads. So when I come back, I'm not letting the heel touch the ground, and I'm holding on to the chair really tightly. Your other foot can be planted solid on the floor. I only have it back so you can focus on seeing my one leg move. And then we stop. You can even rub that out because now your quad might be talking to you. And you had I'm gonna keep reminding you about the self-massage class that you had. If you didn't watch that one yet, you need to watch that and get a tennis ball because it was awesome. And doing the same thing on the other side. So picking your leg up, maybe you're flexible enough that you can bring your foot up. I cannot get my foot on the chair unless I pull it up. So once I get a good solid placement with my heel on the edge of the chair, holding on to it, you can have your hands around your ankles or grab your elbows and hug in. Other foot solid on the floor and curl in on yourself. Try to pull your belly in and round your spine. Every last one of us, if you've eaten food in the past year, there's some sort of wrinkles or rolls on your belly. So it has nothing to do with how big or small you are, but as you exhale, you want to tighten those muscles and curl in. The more you work the abdominal muscles, the more you work the spine. Slowly come back up. And see, we're gonna do it again and see if you can get a tighter hold. Hold on to your arms, hold on to your ankle, and come down. So my forehead's not on my knee, but it's kind of next to it in the middle. Slowly come back up. If you were on the floor, I would have us bring both legs up. I do not recommend bringing both legs up on the chair. On the floor, you can hug both legs in, but not on the chair. That would not be safe. So hold on here and then lean back and carefully wiggle this foot off of the chair. Should feel a little bit more weight, and in the same sort of exercise, strengthening the quad to help the knees out. Bring your foot up, straighten, and back. We're just doing this a few times, but it makes such a tremendous difference. And holding on to the chair, you can keep working your abdominal muscles. So if I was not holding my belly and using the muscles, my belly really would hang out more. It's not like, you know, my six-pack's in the refrigerator. I'm not wearing it. So you keep, but you can work it as you keep working these muscles. You should be starting to feel a little something, how I mentioned earlier. Feeling something's okay, as long as it's not pain. Nothing sharp and shooting. I feel the muscles working. Sometimes we refer to it as a burn. Last one, kick out, hold for a second, and slowly bring it back down. Plant both feet, and then massage that out. Just a little love. You made your body work. You don't want your body to cuss at you. You want it to talk at you, but you don't want it to curse at you. So you want to love it up a little bit. And then, let's see. Ooh, let me check. I'm good on time, right? Yes, okay. Now this one may look a little weird. So when we did the legs up on both sides, that's really helpful for the hip flexor. I apologize. I realize now as we've gone through all these exercises, I didn't talk much about the body parts and what it was good for, but it's an overall stretch. And whether it's stress reduction or strength building, because stretching and strengthening, you know, are one side, it's like heads and tails. Same side, different coin. You're getting stronger, you're getting more flexible, you're relieving stress, and all the things that Sandrine mentioned at the end. This one looks weird, so I really struggled with whether or not I would do it, but trying to open your legs as wide as you can. So on your chair and find your stability, right? So I generally have one hand on the back or the side and one hand in front. So now your legs are almost in this rectangle shape. This forces you to work your lower back to sit up in such a way, or you curl in. Because as soon as the legs go out, your shoulders want to curl forward. So in order to keep yourself strengthened and stable, you can pull the belly in, shoulders back and down, and hold on the knees. You're turning your feet out as much as you can. So depending on your level of flexibility, they might point to whatever's on the side of you. Mine's are on an angle, they're not pointing straight out. It might look like it just because of the camera. And you're taking your hands and placing them on the inside of your thigh or the inside of your knee and gently pressing out while you breathe. Slow, steady breaths in through the nose, feel the belly pull in and out. So, and release and relax for a moment. And we're going to do it again. So off of the chair, you'll see people, you might be in various sorts of squats. So if you were to come off of the chair and hold in this position and keep your shoulders up, not saying do that, that's what you're doing and strengthening and opening all of this. With the chair, then you're still strengthening and opening this area, less pressure on the knees, but you're also working your back and your stomach to keep your spine straight. Because once you start stretching one part of the body, the other part of the body is like, oh, I don't want to do this. So it's like you fix one thing, it's like Jenga. You pull something out, something tilts. So brace your feet, press the knees open, tighten your belly and shoulders back. And you're going to sit in this position and we're going to take 5 breaths here. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Again, in, out. 3 more, in, out. 2 more, in, out. Last one, deep breath in, slow breath out. And then relax, and you see, as soon as I moved my hand, my legs, they curled in. My arms were working to hold them out. So they curl in, and you can just slowly walk your feet back in, toe heel them together. So with your feet together, so something, let's see, if you come a little to the edge of your chair, knees forward, not so much, like when I went a little too far, the chair tilted. So you don't want your chair to tilt, right? So you want just forward enough that you're there, but you don't want the chair to come up. Make sure you're stable and you can sit up straight. So now that we've done a warm up, hopefully I can only see Jackie. So give me a show of hands. Do you feel warmed up? Okay, good. So we're gonna cool down for this last little bit to make sure you have time for questions. Because I wanna, we have just a few more minutes. So the same, sometimes your cool down is the same as the warm up. And it may sound a little different that you would need to cool down after stretching. We didn't run, we didn't jump. Everything was really safe. No matter what age you are, whatever joint issues you have, you could have rheumatoid arthritis. And you could still do this because everything was very gentle on your joints. But you still, before you get up and move, just to pace yourself. So it'll be very similar to how we started. Feet on the floor, but going a little deeper, hands on the knees, push your chest forward and bring your head back and your shoulders back. So you're pulling against the knees as you drop the head back, the arms are bent. So it's a really deep back bend. Slowly bring your head back up to center, sit up straight. And then the forward bend. For the forward bend, you can hold on to the chair, or you can hold the back of the chair, under the chair, and then curl your shoulders forward, tuck your chin in, and slowly go down and stay here. So instead of going back and forth immediately into the cat and cow, We're holding a little longer. And slowly come back up. Hands to the knees, chest forward, just a couple more times. Still breathing. When you're breathing in a back bend, you should be lifting out of your lower back. Come back up to center, hands to the chair, chin down, lower. And you might not need to hold on to the chair. I'm just really emphasizing for safety. And if you want to use more strength while you're curling in, the chair gives you opposition to pull on. Nice. So another one that I wanted to give you, and I didn't tell you to have something in advance, so it depends on your flexibility. I told you about my shoulder injury. So I cannot always do this. Let's see, how can I, oh, there we go. So you're not gonna be able to see my face because I want you to have the back. So when you're reaching one hand down and then the other elbow over. So if you're reaching your hand, like some people have so much flexibility, they can reach further down their back. So I'm facing away from you and one arm, the hand is reaching towards the middle of the spine and the other arm is pulling the elbow. And we'll switch sides. Really good stretch, still breathing, sitting up straight. But the next part can be more challenging. Breathe into this. So if you can reach back, some of us can. I have a strap and I have just a towel here. This is just a standard hand towel. So to grip. So my hands, I cannot get them. If you can see, I'm trying to hook and I can't. So this is a great time to use a strap or a towel. So I'm using a towel. I have it in one hand, then I'll reach. And what you see that I can use to increase this stretch and get my hands closer together is this towel. So at some point, some people can grab their hands. And this is a good stretch. Arms, strengthening stomach, shoulders, really working some of the torso on the upper back. And then I'm going to switch sides. Towel in the other hand. If you don't have a towel, you're just going to see where you go. And because the injury is in one particular shoulder, it's going to be a lot more space. My hands are nowhere near as close on this side. And allow that. And as best you can, you're still sitting up straight. And we'll release. I'll let go of the towel. The last one before we stop is some people can do what we call reverse prayer or namaste, all working shoulder, wrist flexibility, and that would be bringing your hands into a prayer position, just how we could do that in the front of our chest, behind your back. So I'm not one of those people, but I don't want to assume, so you'll come here and try to have the hands there. So my hands are all the way down, just above my hips or right at the butt. And some people, the hands can come all the way up. So as much as you can, you start off with the tips of your fingers touching and reverse. Lot in the shoulders, in the wrists, in the elbows, pull your belly in. Okay. And with that, facing you together, we're going to take 3 breaths in and out. Inhale your arms up. Turn your palms face out. Exhale them down. Feet flat on the floor. Inhale, arms up. Turn your palms out. Exhale, palms down. Last time together, inhale up. And exhale down. And I am complete. I hope you are more warmed up. I am definitely more warmed up. You thankfully can't see that I started sweating. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really hope those of you that are still here at the end have questions for me, and even you, Jackie.
I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed that one. I really did. It's like my body feels, you know, really good right about now. It feels like, my posture and everything is like, sitting up and, it just, my body just feels more calm and not stressful, not stress on it.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I thought of you. I was glad to hear you were going to be here today when we talked about strength training. And there's a lot in the shoulders, that we did. So yeah. I saw things go into the chat when I was teaching, so I'm not sure if there were questions or what that was.
I think it was Sandrine just giving, like information on different stretches and stuff
Oh,
like
nice.
that. You can go, like websites they can go on.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. Yeah.
And that's something right there. What we did today is I could definitely use this method at the gym, on my triceps, biceps, back, and quads and everything. And I could do this.
There's so much strengthening to counterbalance it. There was another one I thought about doing that I didn't. Oh, I saw somebody come off camera. Did you have a question?
Yeah, my main question is that I get like this lower back pain, and it comes in the middle sometimes, and it's coming like real like a lightning bolt before it went bam like that, then it went away. Then I have something that has this nagging when it won't leave, and I've taken like a lot of Tylenol 500s for it. And that's when I really can't take it, and I have them on hand. But I know you're not supposed to do that and take that many, but
Right.
it's like the only thing I know what to do because I'll stretch the wrong way, and that's what was my situation. I think that caused it, but I don't know where it comes from. But I don't like it.
So on me, so are you saying it's somewhere around the middle of your back here?
I just felt it today. It was on the left side when in the wherever you put your knuckles when you put your go in your back like that, like naturally you go up a little bit. That's it right there.
Okay. So there's a couple of things, and especially since you said on the left, I've had lots of challenges with my health over the years. And one of the things is kidneys. So making sure there's nothing else going on. So always saying your yoga teacher, your fitness instructor, your personal trainer is not medical advice. So when you're having that sort of thing, if it's constant, check with your doctor. I think our bodies are always talking to us. And then, full disclosure, I'm so healthy and fit. I had a nagging pain in my back, and I thought it was from my working out. I tend to be sore a lot, and I'm sure, some of you that are very active and fit, you get accustomed to being sore, and not until I had a fever and wound up in the hospital, it turned out like I had a kidney infection, but I didn't know because the doctor banged my back, and I was like, oh my God. And he was like, you didn't feel that? I was like, I'm sore all the time. So I wouldn't, if you have to continue taking over-the-counter medicine to mask extreme discomfort or pain, that is definitely something that requires medical attention. Now, having said that as a disclaimer, as for the extreme sort of thing unnoticed, if it comes and it goes, it may very well be your abdominal strength. What I was alluding at while we were doing some of these things, depending on where you are. So most people with low back pain, it's because the lower abs are weak. Mid back, mid abs. So, you know, the abdomen is broken into upper abs, middle abs, and lower abs. Most sit-ups, so people generally recommend crunches or leg lifts now instead of the old-fashioned sit-ups because they're not good. So there's a certain strengthening that you have to do. And I mentioned it also when I talked about the, if you feel something in your lower back, because in standing yoga, we do a lot of back bends. So as I'm standing up straight, if I go into a back bend, I'm trying to move my arms so you can see, the pressure is in my lower back. Now, if I lift my chest up and go back, the pressure is not collapsing. I'm just moving my arms so you can get a better visual. So collapsed. So I'm hoping, could you see the difference in that? So it's like, yeah, just give me like a thumbs up if you can see the difference. Okay, good. So that's one big problem when I have people that talk about the low back. So we're doing things where we collapse. We don't tend to walk and stand fully act. Like I'm short, I'm 5 feet tall, but if I'm standing in a way where I'm lifted, so if I'm not using any muscle control and standing, I kind of, you know, you sink down, your shoulders go back, your belly pokes out. It's just very different. So without any control, your shoulders go back, belly pokes out. So when you sort of turn things in and lift the belly in, pick the shoulders up, hips forward and back, it's like you get an inch taller and you're strengthening everything in the core. I hope that helps. They went off camera, so I don't know if they're still here. But that's something about how, yes, maybe see a doctor or find different things to strengthen. And in terms of popular strengthening, when we talk about crunches, you know, it's little things. So if you don't want to do a full sit-up, we do boats, we do different things where you lift your legs up and balance, or you can do things, but you really want to be mindful of how you're moving to strengthen that area, because it's very easy for different parts of our body that are less used to become weaker. So for that person, I hope that was helpful.
Yes. That was very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. Determining the differences, because I mean, there are so many reasons, you know, why we could have, you know, why our back is bothering us, you know, not being hydrated enough, you know, too much soda, too much sugary drinks, you know, so yeah. But like you said, if it's something that's just unbearable where you have to continue to take medication, it's best to talk with your primary care doctor, or, you know, and have someone to check it out. But yeah, that was very helpful.
Yeah. Never, I've had the extreme of both things, you know, so listening to your body talks to you, don't let it cuss at you, because the sharp pain, that's when it's cussing at you.
Yeah, that is true. Any last words?
None from me. I think Sandrine has a link. I guess I'll come in closer.
Yeah.
There's a link that I pop in the chat. Now you can see me. Hey.
Yeah, so the link is in there.
Okay, good. There's a popular one that I normally put in. I don't have my keyboard on, so let's see how it'll type. Oh, there it goes. It brings up the keyboard. Because it's always the one how people, if they want more information and want to find me, it's not an active hyperlink though, Jackie. Where's the slash? It's not the real keyboard, so it's different typing on this floating keyboard. You guys are helping me grow, because I don't often do this in a chair, so I had to find a way to lift the laptop up to make this work.
Oh, nice.
That looks right. Jackie, if you copy that into your browser and paste it again, then it'll be an active link with the https://
Gotcha.
Thank you. All right, I see there's only, so who's left? Kat and, oh, Salome. I know another Salome. Hi. All right. Well, if you are complete, I am complete.
Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Stay tuned because we will have another stretching next week. It's going to be Thursday again, same time, as they say, same bat channel.
Yes, yes. You're dating yourself too, Jackie. We're both dating ourselves.
Of course. And just to make sure to check your text messages, we also have another event that's going to be out in the Bronx, and it's going to be a live event. So it's going to be a community event with fitness and healthy meals. So check that out. That's going to be on the 20th, October 20th. And it's going to be, I'm looking at the calendar right now. It's going to be from 4 to 5:30. So if you can get out to the Bronx, check it out. And also continue to check out our YouTube. I mean, all the stretching videos that we have done, the series, are on our YouTube. So check us out. And hope you guys have a great weekend since it is Thursday. One more day left for the weekend. Get out, enjoy, meet a new person, say hi, smile to someone.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.